Welcome to Elevation. Today I'm going to be discussing narcissists in relationships. Have you ever dealt with someone that just seemed to not care about your feelings? Every time you express your emotions, it always led to an argument, or they would tell you that they would change their behavior, but it had to be dependent upon you doing something that they wanted you to do first. Oftentimes, they would make you feel that your feelings weren't valid or that you were being insecure or that the reason why you were feeling that way was really your fault and you caused the situation. All that is narcissism. Narcissism is more than having patronizing traits, though. Narcissists have an inflated sense of ego, which leads them not to care how their actions affect other people. Different types of narcissists. If you're in a relationship with one, it's important to identify which kind you're dealing with in order to understand how to handle them if you're intending on staying in the situation or if you're trying to finally remove yourself from the situation. There are 8 different types of narcissists: overt, covert, vulnerable, classic, malignant, cerebral, and somatic. Overt narcissists are easy to spot because they don't try to hide their manipulation at all. They are proud of the fact that they can manipulate and control people and get them to do the things that they want them to do. Most people cannot stand to be around them or anything. Covert narcissists, however, are the polar opposite of them. They usually seem charming, and they use that charm to manipulate people into getting them to think the way that they want them to think. Most of the time, they are passive aggressive and they use emotional manipulation. A type of emotional manipulation that they love to use is love bombing. Love bombing is like when you meet somebody and they just give you all this affection and attention and gifts and take you everywhere, and it just seems like it's just like the fairy tale that you always wanted, but bam, it just stops. And you wonder what happened is because you didn't do something they wanted you to do. For example, like you have somebody in your life, maybe you hang out with all the time, and they're like, well, I don't think this person is good for you. I think you should stop hanging around them, whatever. So they stop doing the things that they were doing until you finally, stop talking to the person. Basically, because you've got so used to all this affection and time and all this stuff from this person and everything seems so perfect that you will do basically what they tell you to do so they don't stop giving you that. Usually it's not until that love bombing stops that the true colors of the covert narcissist starts to come out and you see the red flags and you're like, oh my God, what have I gotten myself into? And most times you're in so deep, it's hard to get out at that point. A subcategory of a covert narcissist is a vulnerable narcissist. Nobody thinks of a narcissist as being vulnerable, so it kind of sounds like an oxymoron when you say vulnerable narcissist, but it's people that they usually guilt trip everybody around them to get them to bend to their will. It's a ego boost for them because they get the attention that they want from the person, and they get it every time. They go guilt trip them, and they always get that person to do what they want them to do. The classic narcissist is what most of us think about when we think about a narcissist. They crave being the center of attention. They believe that they're better than everybody around them. They're very, very arrogant, and they act like the world owes them something. Malignant narcissists tend to be very controlling of the people around them. They don't feel guilty about their actions or how their actions affect other people at all. Cerebral narcissists try to impress people with, how smart they are and what they've achieved in their career. And they feel like people that haven't achieved those things are just basically beneath them. Somatic narcissists care about their looks a lot. Their looks and their lifestyle is what, makes them. So they put a lot of time and money into their appearance and, just living this big extreme lifestyle. So now that I've told you like the different types of narcissists, I'm going to kind of tell you how to handle that type of person so you can, basically not get manipulated like they're trying to manipulate you, because if you know what you're dealing with, then you know how to handle them and their little tactics won't really work on you. If you haven't heard about Anchor, it's the easiest way to make a podcast. Let me explain. It's free. There are creation tools that allow you to record and edit your podcast right from your phone or computer. Anchor will distribute your podcast for you so it can be heard on all streaming platforms. You can make money from your podcast with no minimum listenership. It's everything you need to make a podcast in one place. Download the free Anchor app or go to anchor.fm to get started. Going to deal with a narcissist, the first thing you're going to have to do is accept that you're not going to be able to change them. The way that they are is the way that they are, and no matter what kind of promises they make or whatever else they might say, your feelings don't really matter to them. Their feelings will always come first, no matter what. It's not fair at all. But if you're not willing to walk away from them, then you're going to have to accept the fact that this person's feelings will always come before yours. No matter what you say or do, there's no way that you're going to change that, because that's just how they are. When dealing with a narcissist, it's easy to be manipulated into letting your whole world revolve around them. You have to make sure to take time out for yourself and your needs, because the narcissist isn't. Their whole MO is to have you do what they want you to do and your time and attention be spent on them. Don't let their constant need for time and attention stop you from doing the things that you enjoy. You don't have to feel guilty for continuing to want to do those things or want a life outside of that person. You need a life outside of your partner in order, to have, a mental balance. So please do that. You also have to have a strong support system, because it's emotionally draining to be with someone like that. You need people around you that are going to remind you who you were before you got with that person, because sometimes it's easy to fall into the things that they might say to you, and you need, your friends and your family and people that love you to remind you of who you are, so you can't let them, isolate you from everybody. You have to set clear boundaries. That you will always be bending to what they want. You have to stand on what you say to them and be consistent, because if you don't, then they will not believe you anytime you say anything, and the manipulation will just continue. Do not do anything until they do what they said that they were going to do. You have to take the power away from them. If you continually just do what they say after they make a promise, then they're not going to do what they told you, because you've already done what they wanted you to do. So you have to be consistent in getting them to do what you need them to do first. And most important of all, you can't blame yourself for their shortcomings. A lot of narcissists like to put things on you and, make it seem like it's your fault for certain ways that they act, but it's not. You know the truth. Don't accept the blame just, to keep the peace. You have to stand on, your truth. Don't let them take that away from you. You should completely leave a situation with a narcissist if it becomes abusive. Most oftentimes, the abuse will be emotional. They'll embarrass you in public. They'll call you names. They'll threaten you. They'll accuse you of things you know you aren't doing. They're very, very jealous. They'll try to isolate you from, everyone around you. And when you feel like you're being manipulated to the point that it's affecting your mental health, you got to leave immediately. Don't wait, because the longer you wait, the harder it is to get away from them, because the longer you're in that situation, the longer that they get inside your head, and it's just hard to get back to who you were before you started dealing with that mess. Also, if they have a substance abuse problem that, they will not get help for, you really need to leave immediately, because that loss of control, they're going to have to find some way to, deflect their feelings on that, and that becomes you, and you become their emotional punching bag because of that. And also they have mood swings and stuff, and that just makes the situation even worse, and you really should just get out of it. Most times, to finally walk away, you can't do it right away, because this person, you've been with this person so long, they've love bombed you, you've been through that cycle with them, you're so used to them being there, just walking away gets hard. So if you don't do it the first time, don't feel bad, because they say it takes up to 7 times to leave a narcissistic person. That's a lot, but it can be done. The only way to really get it done is you have to block this person out of your life. You can't talk to them at all. Don't answer any texts, phone calls, emails, anything. Block them off your social media. Like, you have to totally get away from this person, because if they talk to you, they know exactly what you want to hear to get you to come back. And it's just going to keep on being that cycle. So when you get ready to walk away, you have to just act like that person doesn't exist anymore. For 3 years, I dealt with a covert narcissist, and it was one of the most traumatic experiences in my life. It started out well, we met online. I wasn't really into him at first, to be honest. He wasn't my usual type, but he was really, really persistent though. Like, every single day for like 2 months, this man would text me as soon as he woke up in the morning. Good morning, beautiful. Good morning, beautiful. Good morning, beautiful. So finally, I was like, well, he's trying, so let me see why, he's trying to get to know me so hard, because, he's messaging me every day, asking me how I'm doing and stuff, and, I'm one word in answering him or whatever. But I was like, I want something different, I'm going to step out of my usual, comfort zone or whatever, and just try this whole new, thing. So, we got to talking, and everything went really good, and, he was perfect. He was charming, he was intelligent, he had everything together, he was like the perfect catch, basically, like, I just thought, my Prince Charming had, finally found me, so I was all into it, or everything. So, he gave me all this attention, affirmations, time. Everything was just going great. And, he just love bombed me so much in the beginning. And then, boom, it all stopped all of a sudden. And I was at a loss, like, what did I do wrong? And he was telling me, you're asking me for too much time. You're not being understanding about my schedule. But he had that same schedule when we first started dating. So now, why all of a sudden was it a problem? But, he had been giving me so much time and attention and stuff. I was like, well, maybe I am asking for too much. Maybe I need to be more understanding or whatever. So, I let him gaslight me into letting him give me bare minimum effort, basically. Opening up to me and everything, and I just felt like everything was still okay, even though we weren't spending as much time as we were before. I just got to a point though, it just felt off. I was just like, how do we go from seeing each other like every week to now I see you maybe once a month? Like, I know this is not your job, it's something else, but he kept using it as an excuse and, just being like, just give me time, be patient, I care about you, I only open up to you, I don't really open up to that many people, bear with me and all this stuff. But I just got frustrated and was like, you know what, I'm just done. And, I told him, I wish you the best, concentrate on work since that's most important. And I'm just going to go my own way. So, that lasted for like a week or 2 or 3. And then he messaged me and it fell back into the same cycle. He would come back and just give me all this attention and the time again and the affection and all this other stuff. And it was just like, the time apart never happened. And then he would get distant again. And this time when he got distant, I cut him off and I blocked him. But that lasted for like a month or 2, maybe 3 or 4. I don't know. I can't remember, but it lasted for a while where I just wasn't talking to him. But then I started missing him because, this person is somebody that I talk to every single day, all day long. Basically, I was talking to this person. But, and I had kind of isolated myself from my friends and stuff during this time too, because I knew that I deserved better than what he was giving me, because I knew that there was something else that he was holding back. But it's just like I had all these feelings for him and I had got so vulnerable with him, and I had I had let my guard completely down, and that's something I don't do that often. And, I was kind of embarrassed because I was letting him, treat me this way and stuff. And I didn't want to talk to them about it because I'm usually like the strong one out of my friends. And I was like, well, how can I go to them with this? And I know better. So I'm just going to suffer in silence, basically. But, I started working on myself through this time apart and trying to figure out, well, what was it about me that made me even deal with him anyway? And there were certain things in my life that I wanted to do, accomplishing things. And I worked on that and I made those accomplishments and got those accolades that I wanted. And my self-esteem was boosted and everything was fine. But then I just kept wondering about him. I was like, well, was it really just one-sided? Or, did he really care about me? Like, I just couldn't let it go because he was just still in my freaking head. So I unblocked him and I read this message and I'm utterly shocked. In the message, he's like, I really have feelings for you. I really care about you. It was never you, but I'm married and I didn't want to tell you because I didn't know how to tell you this. And I ignored it because I'm like, okay, he lied to me for 2 years. He was married and didn't tell me. So, everything he basically probably told me was a lie. Why am I going to sit here and talk to him? But he just kept messaging. I'm sorry. I know you'll never speak to me again, but this is me trying to give you the answers you need. I'm so sorry. Please forgive me. And I fell back into it again. And like we discussed earlier, a narcissist will tell you what they feel like you want to hear to get you back into their circle so they can get the attention and the time and everything that you're giving them. A narcissist most likely will never leave you. It will always you have to leave them. And I messed up by answering these messages, which got me back into this cycle with him again. But this time was a little bit different than the other ones because, like I said, I've been working on myself so much. I didn't just focus on him anymore because I had all these other things going on. So, when he was giving me the attention and stuff, and I had decided, well, I keep going back, so I might as well just accept it what it is. I don't know. It was just a little off for me because I couldn't act the way I did before. So when he started, trying to, take the love bombing away again, I had my boundaries and I set them and I was like, if you're going to do this and this is all you're going to do, then this is all you're getting from me. And he didn't like that. So, of course he didn't because, like I told you, like narcissists want to control people. When they lose the control, then usually they want to go find somebody else they can control. And that's what happened in this situation. Once he stopped talking to me this time, I completely deleted his number. I deleted his email. and like I have no way to get in contact with him. My phone, if he'll call me or whatever, it's gonna come up as spam. So I'm not gonna get those calls and stuff anymore from him. So finally, I'm done with it. I feel relieved because I know that if I don't, then it will just be this same cycle again, and it's not healthy and it's toxic. This was a little, hard for me to talk about, but I really felt like I needed to because I feel like it was important, because I think that people get in these situations and they feel alone and they don't want to talk about it because, I'm going to be honest, it's embarrassing because we know better. You know that this person is not treating you the way you really want them to treat you. And you get tired of the arguments and you get tired of them pushing back. But it's just like they're so far into your head, it's hard to get out of. I kind of feel like this is maybe what Stockholm is, when people begin to love their abuser or whatever, because this person has become your whole world basically, because you stop doing the things that you're used to doing and all these things for them. But you finally can walk away. Like, there is a point that you can walk away. You just have to be strong and stick to it. Because if you don't and you continue to talk to them, you're never getting out of it. And things are never going to change. And it's just really unhealthy. And anybody who's in that situation, I'm begging you, just let it go. It's not worth it in the end. No relationship is worth your mental health. As far as this relationship, if you read my book, Twisted Love, the relationship between Cassie and Lawrence is loosely based on this relationship I was telling you. If you can kind of understand how the controlling kind of started if you read that. You can, purchase it on Amazon and, follow me on my social media for updates for all elevation content. You can find me on Instagram and Twitter at Yvette_author, and you can find me on Facebook at Yvette Author, all together, no spaces. I hope you guys enjoyed the show, and until next time, ciao.